Hello! Today we're going to be doing a reaction video to Mr. Who's the Boss's video on Pokemon Unite and how mobile games are designed to scam you. I've been told to watch this. I've been seeing it blow up online and I want to see it, and I'm going to see it for the first time right now. Let's begin.
Pokémon, Call of Duty, Diablo Immortal, Raid Shadow Legends. These are just some of the hundreds of games that are run by scammers, effectively trying to bankrupt you. We're going to expose them for who they are.
Okay, solid intro. I already kind of know where this is going, but let's see.
3 weeks ago, I started playing the incredibly popular mobile game, Pokémon Unite. It seems simple. You're in one team of Pokémon, and your goal is to head to the other side of the map and score goals against the other team of Pokémon. It's completely free to play, and over 100 million people have downloaded the game. But I'd only just finished the tutorial by the time I was slapped with a full-page ad to spend $10 on something called the Unite membership.
Okay, well, Unite membership, I don't agree with that, so I guess here we go.
No way, I thought. So I closed that tab and carried on playing, not realizing at this point that this was all part of a bigger plan to rinse me of everything that I own. It took just 6 more minutes of playtime before I was greeted with this. See, the game gives you a login bonus every single day that you come back to the game and play. But this pass effectively gives you bonuses on top of that bonus, which actually seemed pretty reasonable for the 60 EOS gems that it cost me, which equates to about $1 in real.
Okay, so already he's spending real world money and shouldn't have to, but continue. Let's continue.
Money, so I bought it. One of the first times I've ever spent money on a free game, and I felt alive. Kind of like how you feel when you manage to nab one of those Amazon Lightning deals just before they run out. After the first couple of days though, I started to notice that while I was getting plenty of new stuff and constant level ups, and I had been given 4 different Pokemon to play with, I started losing. Like, a lot. I started to realize
Because you're bad. It has nothing to do with money. Moving on though.
That this game was less about skill on the battlefield. The combat is effectively just mashing your different attacks as soon as they become ready to use. It's more about how
It's not. It's not about mashing the buttons. Wow, this is already embarrassing for this guy.
strong you make your Pokemon before you step foot on the battlefield. So, I decided that I needed some held items. Held items that you equip to your Pokemon to give them improved stats. So, I headed to the shop and I spent about half of the total in-game EOS coins I'd earned so far buying 3 items. One that increases my maximum health, one that gives me health regeneration, and one that increases my damage output. And I thought, finally,
EOS cookie, leftovers, and choice specs on presumably Charizard, because that was what he was showing. Okay, continuing.
my Pokemon is kitted out. I don't have to think about this anymore.
Kitted
I
out,
can just play
right,
the game.
right.
So I charged into battle with my head held high, and I got absolutely demolished. It became very clear to me at this point that
Because you...
gems you need.
Oh no,
First
oh
couple
no.
of days though, this game Pokemon to give them improved stats. So I headed to the shop and
I actually clicked ahead in the video in my reaction, but no. If you're using items that aren't good, you're not gonna have a good time.
I spent about half of the total in-game EOS coins I'd earned so far buying 3 items. One that
Never
increases
mind
my
the fact
maximum
that you can
health,
upgrade
one that
those
gives me
items
health
for free.
regeneration, and one that increases my damage output. And I thought, finally, my Pokemon is kitted out. I don't have to think about this anymore. I can just play the game. So I charged into battle with my head held high, and I got absolutely demolished. It became very clear to me at this point that it wasn't just enough to buy the held items. Because when you first get one,
It's
they're
become
almost
clear to me
completely
that
useless. Like this attack increasing scope lens that I bought.
he
it was
has
literally
not
giving
played
me
this.
0.4% extra.
Okay, he says he's played this game for 3 weeks. If he's played this game for 3 weeks, he would know better. Just saying, he would know better than this. He has not played this game for 3 weeks. That's gotta be a lie. For an embellishment. I'm sorry, not a lie. An embellishment for the video.
Extra chance of getting a critical hit that dealt more damage. Imagine adding 0.4% to your dinner one evening. You'd get 1 extra P. In order to become competitive in ranked matches, you actually need to level your items up all the way to grade 30. At which
No,
point
you don't.
it will give you a
20
big
works fine.
game-changing buff, like let's say 15% more damage. But the problem is, leveling up your items is a ridiculous process. You can't earn levels with skillful play, you have to buy them with something called item enhancers. But then, these item
Which you
enhancers
can
are
get
so
for
unbelievably
free.
slow to earn through any organic means that I was practically forced to make my second purchase. The Battle Pass. This game, and almost every other mobile game like it,
not
uses battle passes as a way to
true. Item enhancers. You have item enhancers coming out of your ears if you play this game on a regular basis.
On top of that,
Nonsense.
the Battle Pass, which is just this whole extra
Nonsense.
to keep playing and keep coming back to the game. And in this case, a lot of those rewards just so happened to be what I was looking for: item enhancers. This was $10 in real money. I bought it, because the alternative option was to sign away weeks of my life grinding for it, but I was becoming very aware at this point that I'd already spent more on this game.
The alternative option is to play the game. Oh no! Horrible, horrible idea!
Than I had in any mobile game I'd ever played before. Still, at least now when I was playing, I could guarantee myself a steady supply of new item enhancers so I could remain a competitive battler. And that's about where you expect the story to end, right? Wrong. Because right when I thought that I just paid my way out of my problems is actually when things took the biggest dive so far. Because it's at this point that I realized just how many of these item enhancers I was going to need. See, when you're upgrading your items, all you can see is how many item enhancers it costs to go from the level you're on to the next level.
True.
And so when I saw that all of my level 1 items just needed 3 item enhancers to level up, and then I saw that with this battle pass, I could get myself a bundle of 30 item enhancers every few days of playing, I thought that this $10 would easily cover me. Thank you. But what the game didn't tell me was that every single level you go up with your held items, the more item enhancers you need to get to the one after that.
That is true.
Actually, to get my 3 held items to level 30, it wasn't that I needed 100 or 200 of them, I actually needed no less than 7,761. When I realized this, my jaw practically hit the floor. To put that number into some perspective, in the entire base game of Pokémon Unite, the maximum amount of item enhancers you can possibly earn, without getting into the whole loot box opening system, is 1,535. If I completely maxed out my battle pass, which is already something that I've paid for on top of that, I could bag myself an extra 360, but I mean, not only would this process take me roughly 150 days of playing every single day to earn,
that's not true.
Even with that, I would still need to find a way to get the remaining.
Okay. So when I first started playing Pokemon Unite, when it came out, when there was not a way to instantly upgrade to level 30, which they added shortly thereafter, it did not take me that long to level up to a level 30 item. This is disingenuous at best and an outright lie at worst. Moving on.
5,866 item enhancers that I still needed. And that's when you have almost no option but to turn to the shop. How much do you think this was going to cost me? A simple, almost required mobile game in-app purchase.
I mean, you're using the tickets.
100 real money dollars. And if you wanted to max out
oh
all of your
no,
items, not just
$100 that you didn't have to spend because you're impatient. Or just bad? I don't know.
You could probably
Like,
fly out to Japan, go to the actual Pokemon
I don't
Center,
know.
buy yourself a real Pikachu
I don't
for that
get
price.
it. I don't
But the
get
scary part
where
of it
he's
is that
coming
at
up with this
point,
from. You can do it for
the
free.
choice that I have. I poured so much time
Just
and
by
love
playing
into
the
my account
game.
that I didn't feel like it was an option to just stop playing.
This
It
is
was either
embarrassing
I pay $100
for him.
or I accept that I will be disproportionately disadvantaged in every future game that I ever want to play. I decided to go for it, which I know is probably the single most pointless.
Okay, I mean, he's disadvantaged in every game he wants to play because he's running Aos Cookie, Leftovers, and Choice Specs on Charmander. That's why he's disadvantaged in every game he's playing. It has nothing to do with the actual money spent, but okay, moving on.
This purchase I've made in my entire life, and I have made a lot of pointless purchases over the years, but I wanted to give you guys a real experience. I wanted to know, and to be able to show you
the real
what was
experience
happening next. And sure enough, somehow, it managed to get even worse. Because then, only at this point, only $100 into this supposedly free mobile game, did I find out how Pokemon Unite makes its big money. So we've established at this point that EOS
Okay.
gems are the premium currency that you can use to buy almost anything in the game.
Yep,
But it's
it's
not
true.
the only currency, because you also have EOS coins, which can buy most of the things that gems can, but you need a lot of them. Next we have tickets, which come in 3 flavors: EOS tickets, fashion tickets, and holo tickets. Fashion and holo tickets
They do
are
have a lot of
skins for your
currencies.
trainer
I'll
and
give them
Pokemon
that.
choice, while EOS tickets let you buy those
A lot
item
of
enhancers, as well as boost cards that
nonsense
increase the amount of experience
currencies.
points you earn. Tickets, like coins, can be earned in events and challenges, but when those run dry, you do need to buy them with gems. Are you keeping up? Because then on top of that, you have EOS Energy, which is required if you want to play a match and get the proper set of rewards, but it's gradually
He is
used up
right.
every time
There
you
is
do so. And we've
a
even
whole
now got
bunch of
limited time
currencies
fake currency for the ongoing
that do
anniversary
not
fake
have
challenge
to
on top of that.
be a thing.
If you hadn't already guessed, after 2 weeks of playing this game, my head was spinning. The game is so unbelievably
currency.
confusing to the point of being stressful.
For
And
the event.
I was about to find out that it is intentionally designed that way. Not to mention that I worked out if I actually wanted to continue to play the game competitively, with full access to all the characters I wanted to use, with a nice selection of outfits for them, and enough energy that I would continue to get rewards for doing so, this game was going to cost me, at the very least, another $1,200 over the next 6 months. So I put the game down. I grabbed my laptop.
Okay, so I personally, who've been playing this game for since it was released, have spent $10 technically, and even that was free Google Play money I earned through other means and never actually spent a dime. I spent $10 on the Battle Pass one time, and I've had level 30 items since like the 3rd week. Probably not even the 3rd week, probably earlier than that. Like, this is embarrassing. This video is embarrassing. All right, continue.
And I started digging. And this is where I understood just how much I was being and was about to be manipulated, and how widespread these developers, who are effectively scammers, have actually become. So it all starts with
Okay.
the first spend. And this isn't a term that I've invented. This is a term that's actually being used by developers. This is Torolf Jernstrom, CEO of the mobile game company Tribeflame, giving a talk on monetization strategies for mobile games.
The first spend, it breaks the ice, then they think of themselves as spenders in the game. It's okay for me to spend in the game.
And what he's teaching these other developers is that 98% of players, when they first start playing a free mobile game, will go into it under the premise that they won't be making any in-app purchases. I was one of them. Most likely you're one of them too. But the second that these games can get you to lay down your first dollar, they've effectively broken your barrier. I mean, your willingness to then make further payments will skyrocket.
So you need
It's a
to break the
psychological
wall
thing,
first.
yes,
In
I
hindsight,
get that.
this must be why Pokemon Unite gave me that super cheap login bonus just 6 minutes after I started playing. They don't care
Right.
about a dollar. They just wanted to crack me, to turn me from a free player into a spender. And I only realized this after watching this developer talk about it, but the way that the game manipulated me into buying it was through the anchoring technique. By first presenting me with an expensive in-app purchase that they actually knew that I wouldn't buy, that Unite membership, they set my expectations that $10 is about what a set of prizes is worth in this game, which meant that when they then swooped in with that $1 deal to get the login bonus pass, I would have felt foolish for turning it down because of the comparative value. I paid. But I realized that the reason I cared so much.
Okay, so all that is true. That is true. Unite does push the money and tries to get you to spend something to get you in the psychological mindset to keep spending. Totally true.
About this purchase, and the reason that so many people pour so much cash into these games is based on another simple human facet that's being exploited. We like to be better than our peers. It's baked into our very DNA that our survival depends on having a competitive advantage versus the people around us.
Okay.
And so, pit wealthy
still
players
psychological
against each other or something,
aspects.
allow each of them to be able to pay for that competitive advantage, and the only party that really wins.
The only objection I have here is you don't have to pay for a competitive advantage in Unite. Most of the stuff in Unite is purely cosmetic. $40 skins, $40 skins are a problem. Like, it's ridiculous how much they charge for the skins and the cosmetics. But for the most part, Unite's not pay to win. Continuing though.
The game developer who's charging them. You can see this technique in all the most popular games, like just recently Diablo Immortal, where you will get completely sliced apart by the players who have spent big money.
Are we seriously
whales
comparing to
in games.
Diablo Immortal right now?
Mind you, that's the gambling industry we're talking about.
Are we
There's something about
seriously
this. If
comparing
you're
to
trying to be a
Diablo
free
Immortal?
player in Diablo Immortal, you're effectively a side character to these whales. And your best chance of winning is just to stick by their side and to support them. And this is by design. It gives that 2% of the player base who is willing to spend thousands of dollars
really
that power trip feeling that
doing
keeps them
that
coming back to spend
comparison?
even more. And sadly, even if you'll never be one of these whale
There's
players,
no
you're
comparison
still
between
under
Diablo
the
Immortal
system.
and
Being
Unite.
able to tear you apart with
It's
ease,
not
it
even
makes you
close.
the thrill that the whales keep paying for. And this is where I really start to hate this.
Whoa. So the hang on. So he's talking about being torn apart while playing a Pikachu that's overextending into an Absol, a Glaceon, and a Sylveon with no backup. That's the example of being torn apart. You're bad. You're just bad at the game. Continuing.
That the whales keep paying for. And this is where I really start to hate this. If it was as simple as you pay a load of money and then you just win from now on, that would be too kind. That would mean that the devs would miss out on making any further money from the whales. So they found a way around that too. What these games do now is, when you pay to make yourself significantly stronger, they'll let you have your first few satisfying wins with noticeably weaker players to stimulate that reward mechanism and
That's
for you to
called a
associate
ranked
the purchase
system,
with a positive feeling.
but okay.
Once that's over, we'll soon start pitting you against other players who've also spent large sums of money in the game. Thus, always creating this feeling that no matter
that's
how
called the
much
ranked
you've already
ladder.
paid, you're always one purchase away
And it
from being
doesn't
content,
matter.
from being better than your peers. But
Okay. That's not true. Not true. Oh my gosh. Like, he's really working to try to frame Unite as pay to win, but it's really not. I don't know. This is embarrassing for him.
never actually getting there because there will always be people willing to spend even more than you. This is why I felt like no matter how much I was spending in Pokemon Unite, I still kept losing. And I mean, Diablo
You keep
Immortal
losing because you're
works.
bad.
You know how like it's quite a big deal to pay $10 for an in-game purchase?
bad at the
You know how,
game.
like, I was absolutely appalled that you had to spend $1,000 in Pokemon Unite. Well, in this game, it can cost
Oh
you
no.
$100,000 to max out your character.
Well,
$100,000
yeah, Diablo
to
Immortal.
actually escape this feeling of
Diablo
constantly
Immortal's
just
no
needing a little
comparison
bit
to
more
Unite.
power. And
That's for
just
sure.
until they release an update that increases that cap. So, I've made my first purchase. I'm already feeling the social pressure of wanting to be better than other people. That's just step one. Of
And
the
maybe
hook habit
learn how to play the
Pokemon
game.
That's starting to become
Just
the playbook
saying.
for a top grossing
That
game.
might help.
Because to make the real money off me, they also have to make sure that their game becomes a habit. And according to this guy, the best way to do that is to give me rapid progression to start with, to make sure that the first few levels are incredibly quick, the first few unlocks are incredibly cheap, and the first few enemies incredibly easy. This stimulates the reward centers in players' brains, the same reward centers that give you a rush every time you pass an exam at school, or every time you get a pay rise at work. And it does it in such a way that your brain will start to crave it. That you'll want to play these games as a regular part of your day because the progression you're getting gives you more instant gratification than probably any other part of your life will. And this is why you barely can find a game now that doesn't have a battle.
Okay. So he's suggesting that Pokemon Unite is more important than any other part of your life. It feels like a reach. Feels like a reach. Okay, I'm just gonna let it ride. Let it ride. Let's see where he's going with it.
Baked inside of it. It's less about the $10 it might cost you per season. It's more about trying to form a habit inside of you. At the point where you've paid real cash to get extra rewards every day, who's going to not log in and claim them? And at the point where they do that, why not just play a couple of games too? Now it makes sense why Pokemon Unite.
Okay, yeah, that does make sense. Login rewards encourage you to play the game, for sure. They encourage you to play a game or two, absolutely, and keeps you coming back, for sure. He's not wrong on that one. The whole pay-to-win thing, he's just way off base. All right, continuing.
Unite was so keen to get me to buy the Battle Pass, because as soon as I did, it makes the most efficient way to play the game from now on to log in a minimum of once per day. Some games like Diablo, they go even further with this, offering login bonuses that start tiny but get bigger and bigger over time so long as you log in every day, to the point where you'll actually be scared
Diablo
to
Immortal
miss a day
is
because
not
you'll lose so much progress on this bonus ladder.
is in a
But
league
it's the
totally
hobby
different
part
from
of
Unite
hook,
in
habit,
terms of
hobby
pay to
that's
win.
the most dangerous.
Unite
Because
doesn't
once that
have
habit
pay
is
to win
formed,
to
and you've
speak
already
of.
spent vast amounts of time and money progressing your character, this is kind of like where I am with Pokemon Unite right now. These companies know you're not going anywhere.
Why is it that every time he talks about not doing well in Unite, he shows himself in a terrible position that he should never have been in the first place if he was a competent player? Okay, moving on.
They have your complete, undivided
I'm struggling
attention,
to,
and that's when they start to change the way that they carry on earning from you. Away from traditional power-ups, because you've already spent hundreds or thousands making your character stronger, and more on convenience. I find this so horrible, but effectively by slowing down your natural progression with the sole purpose of trying to sell you ways to speed it up again, like experience point multipliers. Making it so that I now have to pay to get that same high stimulation, fast progression feeling that I used to get when I first started playing the game for free. Not a dissimilar strategy to drug dealers, I should point out, who effectively build their businesses by handing out freebies to get clients addicted with the hope that they then become dependent and are willing to pay to keep that.
Are we really comparing Pokemon Unite to drug dealers now?
Journey, most will pay real money to earn even, let's just say, a bonus 10% experience points. And it's all driven by something called the IKEA effect. I should elaborate. See, it's a pretty well-regarded fact that IKEA furniture is not the best quality, but because it comes in pieces and you have to assemble it yourself, that effort that you've put in makes you value it so much more. And in the exact same way, developers know that even if you realize that their game is not the most balanced, consumer-friendly, fair service out there, once you've spent weeks building up your character and putting in the work to make them right for you, your attachment is so high that you'll be willing to go to great lengths to keep the fun alive. But then
Okay. Again, like, he's really leaning hard on the pay to win aspect of Unite, of which there isn't really one. I mean, did he play this game? Did he actually play this game? Because it really, really feels like he hasn't played the game. Like, he says he did, but did he actually? Because he's just so way off base.
Then we've got the question of value. We've established at this point why someone might want to make an in-game purchase, but what is it that's moving that needle, that's pushing them to want to spend extortionate amounts of money? Well, in a large part it's because they don't realize how much they're spending, thanks to a tactic known as material distortion. The idea of creating a layer between the in-game money that you're spending and the real-world value of what that's costing.
So the Eos coins, or Eos gems?
Oh my god, this is so real. Like, when I wanted to upgrade my items in Pokemon, I had to first buy item enhancers to do that.
Right.
It's not like I could just pay dollars to buy those item enhancers. I had to use Eos tickets. And then when I wanted to buy Eos tickets,
tons of all the time.
Or to put it another way, I had to convert my currency 3 times to be able to actually do what I wanted with it. This is borderline criminal. Because not only has it started to feel like it's not real money being spent, but I've also got no idea how much each purchase is actually worth anymore. Not to mention the fact that you can almost never purchase the exact amount of gems you need, meaning that A, you spend more than you need to, and B, you will always have leftover gems in your wallet that can't be exchanged back for cash, which is just going to encourage you to make your next purchase by topping up just a bit more. And the cherry on top of this whole alternate cash reality is that if you look a little closer, you realize that this game doesn't have a single mention of the word purchase. They never use the word loot boxes, they're prize boxes. They never use the word buy, it's always obtain. They don't even use the word shop. It's an emporium here. It genuinely reminds me of those killer clowns that you used to see on the internet. They have the most child-appealing, innocent facade, but just beneath that thin veil, they're pure evil. Imagine if there was like a high street shop that tried to pull this stunt, that made you exchange your cash into tokens as you walked in that could only be spent in that shop. They wouldn't get away with
that an arcade?
Neither should these guys. Oh yeah, and if we say that material...
I mean, he's describing an arcade, right? You put money in, you get tokens, or you get a card that effectively acts like tokens. You're describing an arcade, dude. You're describing an arcade. Okay.
Material distortion makes you pay 2 to 3 times what you otherwise would have for in-game items. Then reward randomization, which all of these top games are now using, was going to bring that all the way up to 10 times. This is Call of Duty Mobile. It's actually one of my favorite mobile games from a gameplay perspective. But check this out. A lot of the rarest and the most desirable items in the
I
game
wouldn't know
are
about
not
Call of Duty
actually
Mobile, so.
boxes. Like, for example, I really,
But
really
if
like this gun they've
if
got
it's
in the middle.
anything like
It's designed so
Unite,
that when it kills people, it turns them into a
he's
shadow.
full
That
of
will
it.
win me so much social validation. And it costs 30 premium coins to have a spin. It's about 50 cents in value. So I head onto
are
the
we
store,
not
I
doing
buy myself
Unite anymore?
420
Are we done
coins.
with
That
Unite
should be enough to
at
have
this point?
14 runs at this. I'll definitely get that gun.
Oh no, he
Here's
goes
the
back to
first
Unite.
one.
Okay.
And I realize, the price just went up, and it's going to keep going up every single time I attempt it, from 30 to 40 to 120 to 300 and beyond. It's making me feel like I'm so close to getting it every single time. Like, the pointer will literally sit above and then just slip past the gun I really want. It will also, one by one, put a received marker over everything I have unlocked so far, reminding me of how far I've come and encouraging me to finish it and get everything that the loot box could possibly contain. It's only when I checked the hidden stats that I realized this is not a roulette wheel like it appears. Each item does not have the same chance of coming up. But in actuality, the real chance of getting this gun, it starts at literally 0.08%. And it goes up by just 0.01% each time until you've received every other item in the box. 0.08%. That is disgusting.
That's
you will
8 in
almost
1,000,
definitely pay
yes.
at least $100 for this gun. That is multiple times more than almost any player would have even considered had it just been priced like a normal product in a shop. So all of this explains how these games are able to make, frankly, extortionate amounts of spending seem reasonable. The only thing left is how they create a sense of urgency.
Except that Unite isn't pay to win, so your premise on Unite is
you remember how Pokemon Unite
a little
has no less
off.
than 7 different currencies, and how I was completely and utterly overwhelmed by all the interlocking systems that came as a result of them.
There's a lot of
None
currencies.
of those needed to exist. You could have had the exact same game where everything was bought and sold with just the simple EOS coins. The only reason that we had to have 7 currencies is to create multiple separate in-game economies in which you don't just have to be rich in one of them, but all of them to actually succeed. And it's a system that you can't actually beat, because the more resources that you spend on one currency, the more you find that another one becomes your bottleneck. Most games...
Alright, so in Unite, at least in my experience, as a free-to-play player with that one exception, like I stated, the one exception, I bought the Blastoise Battle Pass one time using basically free money, free Google Play money that I earned other ways without actually spending real-world money. I don't agree. Like, the ability to get item enhancers to upgrade the items is actually super easy. And as I've mentioned before, you're handed items that automatically upgrade it to level upgrade 3 items to level 30 permanently. Which initially, the first month or so, didn't exist, but ever since they did. So, and this guy obviously has played recently, so he is being dishonest if he's not going to acknowledge that. He's being outright dishonest here.
Do this through energy. Pokemon Unite has it. And
All right.
To be honest, the game
We're talking
Raid
about
Shadow Legends
the emblems
system
now.
is even more egregious. Where every single time you choose to play, you're spending not
We're
just
not
your
talking
time,
about the
but
emblems,
also this
apparently.
virtual
We're going
energy
to
currency,
claim that Unite's
which
doing
you can either wait
something
for stupid
and then
amounts of
jump
time
to a
recharge on its
different
own, or
a
pay
different
to refill your
game
tank.
to claim
So,
that that's what they're
Just to
doing.
be very clear, you have to not just pay to buy your items and level up your character and get your costumes, but also to play the game that's supposed to be free. And at the same time as feeling like you have to spend in every single direction at
Except
once,
that you don't,
you're also given
but
the feeling
alright.
that you have to do so quickly. No joke, 90% of purchases you'll be shown in these games, they're all somehow just about to expire. You see timers everywhere, always counting down. There's no reason why this Pokemon costume should need to expire. It's not like the Pokemon company is going to run out of virtual materials to make them. It's literally just to instill you with a sense of fear that if you look away,
No, fear
if you
missing
cannot
out,
just
yeah.
put the game down for too
This is
long,
true.
you might just miss your dream item forever. And what I've realized is
This
the
is true.
worst part of how
They
this
do
game
that with
stresses you out on
their-
purpose is the way that it handles the Pokemon themselves.
All right, Unite does do that with with Unite does indeed do that with their skins. Absolutely. They put their $40 skins up, which I keep saying it's $40 skins because it is bullshit. I'm just saying the $40 for a skin is just stupid. But skins don't help you win. So it's a moot point when it comes to the pay to win aspect.
Unlock access to cool new Pokemon just by playing, which is great. You even get rare and fancy outfits for them. But they're temporary. Unless you pay to keep them, the game takes the stuff it's given to you away from you. And this taps into the very fundamental loss aversion that all humans have. We are biologically coded to disproportionately value something that we own, such that the idea of losing it would cause us more pain than the happiness we would get from obtaining it.
What are they taking away?
And these
I'm not following.
Are now using this to replace just having a shop that you can casually browse at your own leisure, for instead allowing you to feel like the thing is yours first, and then charging you to not snatch it away from you. The long and short of it, what I realized from 3 weeks of playing one of these games...
Hold on.
Losing this, then the happily loss of makes the stuff. But new Pokemon purpose is the way that it handles the Pokemon themselves. You unlock access to cool new Pokemon just by playing, which is great. You even get rare and fancy outfits for them. But they're temporary. Unless you pay to keep them, the game
we're talking about the temporary passes.
Away from you. And
I see.
This taps into the very fundamental loss aversion that all humans have.
Okay, this is true. They do have temporary passes, and it is probably intended for exactly this reason.
Cause us more pain than the happiness we would get from obtaining it if we didn't have it. And these gaming companies are now using this to replace just having a shop that you can casually browse at your own leisure, for instead allowing you to feel like the thing is yours first, and then charging you to not snatch it away from you. The long and short of it, what I realized from 3 weeks of playing one of these games, as well as digging into why these companies are doing what they're doing, is that the more addicted you become to the game, the more profitable the company is going to be.
Well, yes, that's true, I suppose. Except that Unite's not pay to win,
it's defined by how effectively a developer is able to convert an innocent player who just wants to enjoy what they think is a free game into someone who possesses all the traits of a severe gambling addiction. I wish I could be the bearer of good news, but the truth of it is, these shady practices are getting more and more sophisticated as time goes on. They're starting to spread from mobile games to console games, and we've even just started seeing the effects that it's having on the next generation of players, spawning all sorts of impulse control disorders. So, be aware of games that try to milk you for your money, and feel free to subscribe to the channel and share this video if you found it useful. But if you do find yourself in one of these games, and you feel yourself about to throw your phone at a wall in frustration, I've got the perfect product for you.
All right, so we're not gonna do his product placement. So that was the video, and it was mostly wrong. But he leaned so hard into the pay to win aspect on Unite, which is basically non-existent, when he could have been focusing very hard on the $40 skins, which is ridiculously expensive for a premium skin. Like, that's dumb. It's stupid expensive. But skins don't win games. He focused super hard on upgrading the items, which, dude, like, just play the game. You'll get the items in like a week or two. It's not hard. And he also said you have to level them up to level 30, which really isn't true. Once you hit level 20 on an item, the item is just about as effective as it's going to be at level 30. There isn't really a huge stat upgrade beyond that. And it's just statistically, you're better off upgrading all your items to level 20 than upgrading one item to level 30. But again, you can do it totally free. So his spending $1,200 or whatever he said he spent on that just feels silly. It feels like I don't even know what to say. Like, it just feels like he's being dishonest. It feels like he's being outright dishonest about this game, or at the very least, he does not know about. He did not play the game for 3 weeks, like he said. He claimed he played it for 3 weeks, but if he had played it for 3 weeks, he would have some idea of how the game worked, and he does not appear to have any idea how the game works. But that's where I'm going to leave it off. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.